Back at it again, CodingPhase.com. Your boy's back and I done did it again one more time. What's really good? Who's out here with me? Who's live? What's going on? What you guys is up to? Just over here enjoying the beautiful sunny weather in beautiful Florida under a tree. I'm one of those guys now. You can find me here under a tree, man. Times is hard. Times is hard. I'm under a tree, bro. I'm joking, man. What's really good, guys? What you guys is up to? Let me know. Listen, man, the future looks bright. The future's looking amazing. I think this 2026 is going to be a big year for all of us, man. If you are in the space of tech, if you are in the space of, you know, using tech to build things, I think this is the moment, man. And if you've been thinking about joining the tech industry, I think this is the best time. A lot of people is gonna leave the industry. A lot of people is gonna fall behind. A lot of people is gonna give up, and that's what we want. We want them to get the hell out of our way so we could eat. We could eat. We could take over this whole thing, man. But yeah, man. Right now, I've been working on Coding Phase V4, right? Version 4. I dropped a video yesterday. I hope that you guys watched it so y'all could see the play that we're jumping into for, the next foreseeable future, okay? A lot of cool stuff that we're working on, guys, and I want you guys to be part of it, man. Please do not get left behind. Please do not be one of these people that, is watching from the bleachers. You want to be part of the game. You want to be one of the players, okay? Sorry, if I'm swatting like this, like little bugs and little stuff that's popping up over here. It's tropical, tropical air, tropical area, right? But yeah, man, like I was telling you, there's a lot of cool stuff happening right now that we're working on as far as Coding Phase. And like I said, definitely if you are a member of CodingPhase.com already, definitely go register so we could let you in V4. All right, right now we on the beta stage, which means that there's a lot of features being added and people are being let into the new features. But all the courses are still on codingphase.teachable. So when you guys go in, y'all log in, you'll see a section that says, hey, video courses. You click in there and you watch all the courses in there. Everything's set up. Tonight, we're going to be having all the different career paths being populated in the website. So if you are a diamond member, if you are a gold member, if you are somebody who already took some courses on codingphase.com, come in, create your account. From there, check off the things that you already completed. Like, hey, if you already did the HTML, CSS course, you already did the future-proof JavaScript, you already did the content management systems, check all of that off so we could go in and you could keep track of it. Okay? A lot of cool stuff happening right now, man. Yes, did I go to church? Yes. That's why my energy is up. My energy is holy right now. It was a really good church, man. If you're in the Tampa area, go to the Arise Church. I go to the one that is in Brandon, in the Brandon area. If you're in Tampa, go check it out. They have a whole bunch of different churches throughout all of Tampa. They got Riverview, they got Tampa, South Tampa, Brandon. I think they even have in Clearwater. I would suggest for you guys to go. It's a really good church. And it's a modern church. It's not like one of those churches that you go in and you're bored and, the messaging that they're giving you is like old. It's like pretty relevant. And talking about that, I mean, since you brought that up, they brought up a really good topic that I could relate to so much. And a lot of you guys could probably relate. Sometimes, we think we have like let's say a fort. We could say a fort or a place where we feel secure, and it could be a job, it could be a house, it could be something that you've always been doing, or something that you feel safe in there. Okay, and sometimes that thing, instead of becoming like your fort, becomes your prison. And I could relate to it, with the whole thing with my house and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that they brought up that was really, like, it hit a spot. I was in there, I was like, damn, man, it's crazy how sometimes, you listen to somebody and they'll say something that motivates you and just wakes you up. This this is how you know when you're in a good area. You got the Ferraris, you got the Lambos. Shout out to the people out here, man. It's a good area. Um, that's another thing too, man. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, like I was saying, like sometimes you feel like you're in a fort, but in reality, that place that you feel so safe and that you've been trying to hold, and you're comfortable there, it could be your prison. Again, it could be a house, it could be a car, it could be your job that you're currently on, right? A lot of you guys, yeah, working in jobs or companies that you've been there for so long and you stay there because it's safe, right? And sometimes when you go in and you say, well, I have a safety net, right? But in reality, a safety net, and you know what I mean, like, it ain't much, right? And it just really becomes like a prison to you, because you think that you're comfortable there and that everything's gonna be much safer there, but you're actually limiting yourself. Okay, I see it all the time. I had somebody who, I forgot the guy's name, but met him like around 2023. He was in accounting, and he's like, yeah, I'm in accounting, I work for this company, but I've been, playing around with computers since I was young, and I've been thinking about joining the tech industry. This is why I joined CodingPhase, right? And this was like in the accountability meetings, and he's breaking it down to me. He's like, yeah, right now I make around $85,000, which is not bad. It's a pretty good salary. And then we go more into the details, and I asked him about, you know, how long has it been since, how long did it take him to get $85,000 in that job? And he was telling me that he's been working basically for like the past 11 years. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because you give 11 years out of your life and you're just making 85,000. Now, it's not bad, but the problem is when you go in and you compare it to tech, right? You start really realizing like what we have here in tech is something special that not a lot of people have. And a lot of people miss out this opportunity because they think it's too hard. They try a course, they try doing something. The instructor that they had wasn't good, didn't break it down for them or whatever. Or they get stuck. Sometimes people get stuck just setting up their development environment. And to be honest with you, that holds him back. So this guy was telling me that, yeah, he been doing this for 11 years, but he's always been thinking about learning how to code, learning new skills to get into tech. And then he comes to coding phase and starts going through the courses, going through everything that we have a coding phase. And around 2 months and a half, 3 months later, he basically starts applying to jobs. So once he starts applying to the jobs, he started realizing that a lot of the companies are willing to offer him 75, 78,000, 70,000. And he got some offers. Mind you, this is like maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, when he was in the class. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I can't leave my job for 75,000. And I'm just like thinking in my head, I'm like, bro, it took you 11 years to get to 85,000 as an accountant. And within 2.5 months, you're able to go in and make 75,000. Isn't that like a wake-up call, right? But again, going to the beginning of the conversation that I was just talking to you guys about, sometimes we get comfortable in a spot and we basically just think that that's like a safety net, and we just want to stay there, right? Because it's just safe, right? But the truth is that you gotta take risk, okay? And even at that, like that's a very good risk. If you are able to go in and say, well, it took me 11 years to make 85,000, and I was able to make 75,000. I'm getting offers for 75,000, 78,000, within 2.5 months. That should be like a wake up call. Like, what am I doing? What, I'm gonna go in and spend another 5 years to make 100,000? When in reality, you could probably, you know, start being like I don't know, email developer, content editor, front end developer, junior front end developer, make 75 on your first, 6 months, get a raise. Now you're at 80. You're $5,000 less than what you're making on your job that took you 11 years. That should tell you that the growth on this career is much better than anything else that's out there. So if you're making this much by 11 years in the tech industry, you will be making way more than $100,000 in 10 years. Okay, which is kind of crazy, because I see it all the time. There's a TikTok show or like a TikTok channel, whatever, that they ask people, like random people, like how much do they make, what career do they have, and you'll see that almost everybody that's in tech, either in tech sales, front end development, back end development, full stack, data scientists, cybersecurity, right? DevOps, you'll see them that they're like making over, $90,000, right? And sometimes you'll see situations where people are making in less than a year more than somebody that has 10 years in another career. Same thing with like I saw this other TikTok video where there was a girl talking about how she I guess she studied not archaeology, it's like ecology. Like they're the people that test the ground, like let's say for farms and stuff like that. Like let's say if a farm or a farmer is gonna go in and start planting certain type of vegetables or fruits, right? They test the ground if that's gonna be a good ground for that type of fruit, and that's what she studied, right? But she got a master's and a doctor's degree in that, right? Which is crazy, right? So then now she's talking about like that's messed up because they told her when she was growing up, like, hey, go for the thing you're passionate about, you know, get the studies, work hard, and the money will come to you. She has 2 years and she hasn't found a job. And she's a doctor, basically with a doctor's degree, right? If I was her, the first thing, before I even start thinking about getting a master's, the first thing that I would do is I would look into the market. How many jobs are out there? How many people are actually needing your services? There's not that many farms and farmers that are willing to pay top dollar for that. So now you're getting a doctor's degree in some shit that, yes, is useful, but there's no need for it. There's a difference between something that's useful, but there's not a demand for it, okay? Like you could go in and be like, well, I'm gonna study some random shit that, I don't know, how to separate oil from water, right? Let's say, and it might seem good, right? You might say, well, I'm studying biology or whatever, chemistry to figure out how to separate oil from water or whatever. And you're studying this thing for when there's a, I don't know, petroleum leakage or something like that in the ocean. It's something useful, but is there a demand for it? You get what I'm saying? It's something that we need as humans and humanity, right? But is there a demand for it? If there is no demand for it, why are you studying that? Because all you're doing is you just going to school to have a degree and then be out here working at a T-Mobile. You get what I'm saying? That's the biggest problem. A lot of people go in and start studying things just because they think like it's gonna be something good, and yeah, it could be something good, but what's the demand behind it? You know, when I come in and I tell you guys, hey guys, study this way, study this curriculum that I have on CodingPhase.com. My curriculum on CodingPhase.com is not based on the coolest things. There's a lot of cool things that's out there, right? Like, I'll give you an example, Rust or Erlang, or, there's a lot of languages out there that are cool. Shit, I love, Crystal Lang, right? It's basically Ruby, but with better features. But is there a demand for it? No, there's no demand for it. So why would I tell you to study something that is not gonna get you a job? Because you're coming to me for results. You're not coming to me to go in and be like, well, I'm just studying. Joe's showing me a bunch of cool shit, right? You're like, I'm just here for the cool shit. Joe is like, no, you're here for a result. That's what I talked about too in the last video that I dropped. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out on my channel. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. Show me some love, right? But what I was saying in that video is like, when people come to me on CodingPhase, I know exactly where they at right now. They are in a position where they're trying to do better for themselves. They're trying to find better opportunities, and they're looking for an easier route. They don't want to go in and spend 4 years in a college, right? They don't want to go in and spend a whole bunch of money and get no results. So when they come to me, they're looking for something that will help them expedite that journey, but also too, get them to a position of success. What is success? Success is when you escape the rat race. A lot of people think the rat race means just like quitting your job and you don't work for nobody. No, that's not what the rat race is. The rat race is when you are constantly working and you're just paying bills, and then once you pay bills, you ain't got shit else to do because you don't have anything else left. So you're constantly running around this big circle, right? Like a little hamster, to basically just survive, right? People are tired of that, right? And when they come to me, they come with, this idea of like, how do I become successful? I don't want to be rich, multi-millionaire. No, I just want to live good, take care of my family, and be able to go in and say, you know what, at some point, I don't even have to work for somebody else. That's what people come to me for. That's what we're doing with this new version of CodingPhase. It's funny because, in a sense, like, I should have done this earlier. I should have just focused on this part of it. But even I myself, I had to take time to realize exactly why people is coming to me, right? Because you can learn how to code anywhere, right? You can learn how to code anywhere. You could go to any platform. You could go to Udemy. You could go to Udacity. You could go to YouTube. You could find some guy on YouTube, right? You could do all of that shit. Take a freaking Udemy course, etc., right? But what you want is you want to have success. And success comes with a couple of things that a lot of people do not offer. And it's the fact that, how do I get into a high-paying job, a job that has a demand, that I could get results, and that when I'm learning a skill, that skill I could transfer it to the real world and I could reuse it again. A lot of times people just teach you how to code and don't really give you the whole game plan, right? In CodingPhase, we're not doing that, right? And we've never done that since the beginning. Like when everybody was talking about, like React or Node, etc., we went the other way. I already knew where the industry was going. If there's a million YouTubers talking about this and everybody teaching the same thing, there's going to be a point where there's going to be too many people doing the same thing, and there's not going to be enough jobs for them because everybody learned the same shit. It's the same thing that happened with Ruby on Rails. Remember, I came from that world, right? So what I did was I focused on what the market wants, what people are looking for, right? From like, especially from new people, because there's a difference. Like right now, I could say, hey man, you should study Rust, but nobody's hiring somebody that's a junior developer with Rust. No one. Like, the same thing with Python. Like, for you to find a junior developer as a Python developer, you gotta come from a top university, okay? That's the facts. And they're gonna go and put you through hell to get that position because they have enough qualified candidates that's coming out of really good universities. So what's your edge as someone who's learning at home? You have no edge. So when you go to the job market, you could learn everything and you could be as good as somebody that went to MIT. But the truth is that if there's no demand for it and the demand has already been filled, it leaves you in the air where you don't have an edge to let you in. You know, that's the cool part about being in tech is like when they say, oh, you could get a job without no degree. Yeah, you could get a job without no degree, but you could get a job with no degree on a job that doesn't have a lot of people in it. That's why they're willing to go in and give you the position because they're in a sense desperate. They're like, hey man, we can't find a good candidate to fill this position, or every candidate that we do find is gonna charge us an arm and a leg. So that's where you get to shine. It's the same thing for people who live outside of the US. The way how you shine is not learning the shit that everyone else is learning. You want to learn the things that no one wants to learn, the things that when you go in and you put that on your resume, right, they'll be surprised. Like, oh, you know this? Or you're applying to jobs where there's like 100 applicants. You get what I'm saying? You go into a job where 100 applicants, they're going to see your portfolio. They're going to see your resume. But if you go into a job that has 10,000 applicants, the moment it gets posted online, guess what's going to happen for you? Now you're competing with everybody and their mother, and they don't have enough time to go over every single person. So once they go in and they filter it down to 100 candidates out of 10,000, then they filter it to 50, then they go in and filter it to 30, then they filter it to 20, then they start doing calls. After that, they filter it down to 5 to 7 candidates, and then at the end, after they do the interviews, they filter it down to 2 to 3 out of 10,000. You get what I'm saying? So when you come here, you got to start thinking about what's the thing that's going to give me an edge, not the thing that's the most popular, right? And that goes for anybody that's doing any type of degree, any type of career. You got to go for things that has a demand, right? And not enough people to supply it. That way, you're always going to find a job. If you can't do that, you're going for the shit that everybody's going for, bro, it's almost impossible for you to get a job. Shout out to my boy Hashim. What's going on, bro? Shout out to everybody that's in here. I see a couple of people in here. We see Miss Flames, Don Music, Esh, Sam, Vulcan, Covert, Patrick Johnson, my guy, Andrew Jones. Let me see. I'm going to get into the comments in a second. Vulcan says, yeah, he tripping. I would have taken the 75K. Yeah, people, I don't know. And what's crazy is I don't know if he did take the job or not. Because once he already got an offer, I don't know, he disappeared. I ain't see him no more. And I think what happened is that he saw so many YouTube videos, TikTok videos where they talk about how you're gonna make $100,000 off the jump, off the rip. And then when he came to the reality of it, it's like, bro, you're gonna start at 75 and you're gonna make over 100, but it's gonna take you a year to 2 years to get to that level. Okay, that's the facts. But even with that, like, you have to put that shit into perspective. If you stay as an accountant, it took you what, 11 years to make 85K. What's gonna take another $20,000 in that company? It's gonna take you another 5 years, right? If at that, if they're giving you a 3 to 5% increase every year. So if you're able to do this in a better career where you can now do this on your own, and even if you make 75K, there's ways that you can make another 20K independently. That's why I've been trying to put you guys on. A lot of people think that, you know, it's so difficult to make an extra 20K. It's not. Let me see, reading through here. Let me see. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to move around because the sun just popped up and I could barely see the screen now. Let me see. Sales says how to get rich, sir. How to get rich, sir. I'm trying to buy a Lambo. Trying to buy a Lambo and shit. I don't know, bro. I could tell you from my experience is, you could buy a Lambo, but once you have the money to buy a Lambo, why would you? Right? If you young, like it makes sense. Like if I was like 23, 24, 25 around there, yeah, I will probably buy a Lambo. But like, yeah, we good because I'm bagging a couple of shorties with that, right? And I'm going to the spot. I'm showing off. But once you get to a certain point and you're like an adult, like having all of that shit makes no sense. Now, once you have built a business or built some type of investment that's giving you returns to buy a Lambo, then you could buy it. And then you could go in and buy it with your eyes closed. You'd be like, it's nothing to me, right? It's like a Honda Civic. But buying a Lambo just to buy it makes no sense. Trust me. I've had the money to buy a Lambo multiple times, but it just doesn't make sense. Even now, you know, I just sold my house, got some pretty good money out of the crib. If I was like one of those crazy people, they'd be like, yeah, man, I'm putting 100,000 down on this, and that. Let's pull up the Lambo and show you guys like, yo, Joe got mad bread. Joe got this, and that. Nah, I'm going to show you guys a different way, all right? Because not everybody wants to live that type of lifestyle unless you make money from it. Like if you are like one of this YouTubers or TikTokers or Instagrammers, whatever, influencers, that's how they get people to sign up to their platform, then yeah, go get yourself a Lambo because it's a business expense, right? But for me, like, I don't do stuff like that because it just doesn't make sense. Like, if I go in and I pull up a Lambo, who here is gonna be like, damn, Joe got a Lambo. Let me go to CodingPhase now. No one. No one gives a fuck about that shit. Nobody that is in my audience cares about shit like that, right? What they care about is, Joe, how can I do better? How can I go in and get a better job? How can I go in and learn something new, right? Right now, we're jumping into the space of trading, right? And I want you guys to know, like, trading is not about trying to get rich, because when you try to do that, what happens is you lose a lot of money. There's no way to skip steps in life, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The best way is to build yourself up. Right now with this new version of CodingPhase, I was gonna go in. I'm still debating if I should go in and sell the trading course separately, but in a sense, I kind of want to put it inside of the Diamond membership because I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I have the Profitable Developer, which is a business course. I'm selling that separately, but I'm thinking with this new version of CodingPhase, I might just go in and throw the trading course within CodingPhase. Because what I want to do is I want to help people out go from zero to successful, right? What do I mean by that? Somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to learn a new skill, right? Or, hey, Joe, I want to build wealth. How is it that I do that, right? Well, the first thing that we have to do is we got to teach you new skills. You need to learn new skills. And of course, what I know is tech, right? Know how to code, know how to build applications. That's what I can help you with, right? Once we achieve that, we got to get you into a new job, a new position that you could grow. Because if you're making less than, 80, 85,000 a year, right? Or even 70, 75,000. If you're making less than that, you need to start doing other things, right? Because this world is becoming too expensive and too much shit going on that you're gonna need more money. So regardless, that's the number one thing. So we teach you the skill, jump into the second stage, which is help you get into the job position, right? Once you get a job, what do you do with this new money that you're gonna have? Do you go in, start buying cars, start buying a bunch of bullshit? I could tell you from someone that has done that, don't do it, right? I'm gonna teach you guys from my own mistakes, all right? I'll give you a great example of this, right? 2020, I go in, I buy a new Mercedes-Benz. Y'all remember, GLS, fully equipped, sunroof, all this and that, all leather seat, all this and that, right? That car is like $100 and something thousand. I think I paid like 126 for it, right? I go in less than 9 months, I have a car accident, and that car is now worth like $77,000. Mind you, I just lost the money, like probably like 30, 40, $50,000 worth of whatever that car was worth. Lost it in less than 9 months. Guess what was happening in 2020? Stocks were booming, pandemic was happening, the world was having a transfer of wealth where the people that own assets, right? It could be properties, it could be investments in stocks. Those people's money double and triple. Me, coming from the hood, coming from being broke, coming from, hey, I want to get everything that I've always wanted to get, and not knowing this part of the game, right? Instead of buying that car, what I should have done was put 50,000 or 100,000 into like Tesla or Nvidia, or buy Bitcoin when Bitcoin was like $23,000. That $50,000 would have been right now $400,000. And if I would have put it in Nvidia, it would have been like $1 million to $2 million by now. You understand? So what I'm doing with this new version of CodingPhase is going in and helping people out to not make the same mistakes that I did, right? There's things that, over time you start learning and you start getting wiser, right? And people come to me, they trust me to help them out with this process because they've seen the growth that I've had coming from the bottom, building myself up, building my own business, doing tech, right? But there's also things that happens once you get into the tech industry. There's things that you need to set up to basically put yourself in an even better position. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing with this new trading course, is teaching you guys the foundation of how to do investments in the stock market. Again, it's not financial advice. I'm just teaching you guys my strategy, what has worked for me, and what has worked for me from mistakes. 2023, I spent like, I don't know, like $70,000, $80,000 that I was down. 2024, I was down probably like $30,000. So it's like almost $100,000 in L's, in L's, learning this whole process. 2025, I'm profitable, right? But what took me 2-3 years and a bunch of L's, most people get wiped out. Once they lose their money, they be like, oh, this shit is a scam. I knew this shit wasn't a scam. It's a process. You got to learn how to do this, right? And you got to learn the tools, which was my biggest mistake. I'm like trading without knowing the tools. And that's what I want to go in and teach to you guys. Because another thing too, remember what I just said a few minutes ago? I said, if you come into this game thinking like, I want to get rich with this, you're going to lose a lot of money. That's how I lost a lot of money, right? In the beginning. The way how I started making more money and becoming profitable was by switching my mindset. I'm not trying to get rich from it. I'm looking at this the same way how I use all of my different small businesses, where I could say, well, this thing makes me $1,000. This one makes me 5,000. This one makes me 10,000. This other thing makes me 7,000. Now on a monthly basis, I'm making 30, 50, 60, sometimes $100,000 in one month, right? But if you go in with the mindset of like, yo, I'm gonna make $1 million this year, you're gonna catch an L, a big one. That's how I came into the game. So, right? You can't do it like that. What you have to do is you got to have consistency. Even if you make $100, $200 a day, right? That will go in and start growing. Once your portfolio starts growing and you start getting to a point where it becomes big, let's say $10,000, now you could play with leverage. There's trading platforms that you could go in, that you can use, that you could leverage your money. 10,000 will become basically 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. So when you go in and you trade to get like 1%, right? 1% of $50,000, if I'm not mistaken, right? You're looking at $500. Now, mind you, it might not sound like a lot, because when you see somebody here, most of the people that you see like on YouTube, like, oh, they got a Lambo, this and that, they're making 20,000, 50,000. They got a lot of money to start with. You don't. Okay, and you don't know how to do it like they do it. So your goal should be a 1%, 2% on a daily basis of your account. If you do that consistently, you're gonna be profitable. You're gonna see your chart start going up like crazy. Always remember this. If you are basically trading or making 1% of whatever it is that you might have that you start with in a month, you basically will increase by 20%. Now the next month you're starting, let's say it's 100, let's say it's $10,000. Not even $10. Let's start with $1,000, let's say, for example. And you're able to grow it consistently 1% every single day. By your next month, you'll have 1,200. The following month, you'll have 20% of that, and it'll continue to grow. Once you go in, you have 10,000 and you have it consistently. Now you take a chance and you say, well, do I want to go in and invest a little bit more into this? And you say, I got a little extra 5,000. Let me try with 5,000. Now you're getting 1% every single day from that, right? And you're getting a 20% return on a monthly basis. If you're consistent, you could probably do even more than that. There's times that, there's days if you follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, guys, on X, search CodingPhase. I'll be posting like, my daily gains in there and like pictures of it. You'll see it. And you'll see like sometimes I get 20% or 30%. Sometimes I'll make 100%, which means just double your whole portfolio in one day. That means if you got $10,000, you just got $10,000 that same day. But how do you do that? You gotta first learn the tools. You gotta learn how this shit works, because you cannot go in there with your hard-earned money, right, and do it blindly. That's why I'm thinking about adding all of this CodingPhase, because again, CodingPhase is the platform for me to teach people what I wish somebody would have taught me. You're paying, in a sense, to skip all the mistakes that I did. All the shit that cost me money, that I fucking paid top dollars to learn, right? You get it for dirt cheap. You get it crackhead prices, right? I'm like the Robin Hood of tech, okay? So again, and a lot of the people that follow me, you haven't learned none of this stuff. And I'm like, it's so important. I wish somebody would have taught me this shit 10 years ago. Bro, like, the amount of money that I've thrown away in random bullshit, that if I knew about trading or I knew how to invest, right? If I knew these tools, bro, I'm talking about millions by now. But because I just didn't know about this stuff, and I'm just like everybody. I'm a skeptical person. I'm like, nah, this shit's a scam, or this shit's bullshit. People be lying. I can tell you guys, there's no cap. People make a lot of money, but you gotta know what you're doing, and you gotta learn with a simulator. You start from 2-3 months on a simulator. You do it on your off time, and then when you're ready, you go in. You start with $100. That $100, once you flip it to $500, you did something good. From there, you start growing. You start saying, let me go to 1,000. Okay, cool. If I'm getting my 10%, 20% a month, that's, $100 extra on that 1,000. You go in, you get to that 10,000 range. Now you're making some bread. You go past that 25,000 line, you could go in and you could start doing day trading with margin. Now you basically have leverage with $100,000 in your hand. That $100,000, if you get a 2%, you don't need a lot, right? That was another thing too that I made a big mistake in the beginning. I thought like, man, I need to be making like 30%, 40%. You know how many times I've had like a 70% already, and I'm holding it, right? I'm holding it because I want to get 100%. Bro, don't do that. You go in, you get a consistent 5 to 10% every day, even less, 1%. Shit, your shit increases like crazy. What I've been able to do from like May till now, it's crazy, and it's consistent every single month. Well, every single week I get consistent returns. Like now, like I'll be honest with you guys, like I do this shit like because I want to do it. Like I don't even have to be on CodingPhase. Like, you know, I was like, in the summer I was kind of contemplating. I was like, maybe I should just sell the company and just do trading full time and just mind my own business, right? And you know, sometimes I think about that shit when I think about, you know, when people leave negative comments and bullshit like that. That shit kind of turns me off because I'm like, yo, I'm trying to do something positive, trying to do something cool for people that might not, you might not know how to do a lot of this stuff. And now sometimes I get discouraged. I be like, I don't want to fucking go on YouTube. I don't want to be live. I don't want to fucking do this shit because I know there's gonna be some idiot leaving some negative comments, and I'm like, I don't need to be doing this shit. But in reality, like, bro, like, we get in a bag with this, man. And I'm telling you, this is the biggest mistake that I did, was just not knowing. Like, I feel like, in a sense, in a sense, I feel stupid for spending so many years with my head down just on code, right? Because I spent a lot of years. I'm talking about since 2011 till now, to probably till like 2024, 2023, where I just kept my head down and was just only coding, only focus on code, only focus on code, business, and that's it. I wasn't really paying attention to like finances and stuff like that and just investments. I just kept my head down. And what I learned now, I'm like, holy shit, it's like, no, you should, like, I get it now, like my boy Will Motivation. Why Will Motivation? You see, go check out his channel. That's my boy. He's a little bit older than me, maybe like 5, 6, no, like maybe 7 years older than me. But Will Motivation got like 3 Lamborghinis, 4 fucking like 6, 7 homes in Ohio, got a house in Colombia, got a house in Dominican Republic, got a house here in Florida. Like, he's constantly doing all this stuff. And he comes from the same world as us. He's in tech, right? He actually is a developer. But what he did was, once he came into the game, 4 or 5 years in as a developer, he got into investments. For him, it was property investments, right? So imagine me, if I would have known all this stuff and all the things that I know now. I have, since 2011 till now, we're like, what, 15 years, 14 years, right? If on my year 4, on my year 5, I would have said, okay, cool, I'm focusing on code, but let me go in and also focus on my finances and learning how to do investments, the story would have been completely different. You know what I'm saying? This is why someone like Will Motivation is able to do all of this shit, because he's not depending on just a job or just on, you know, one of his businesses. He's investing in, that's where the money is going, right? That's where the money is, and that's where your money, you're gonna make as much money as you really want. And that's what I'm trying to bring you guys into, because it's a big awakening for me. I'm like, holy shit, bro. Like, I should have been doing this a long time ago. Like, I'm telling you, like, the amount of work that I've put into like just code, right? It's crazy. When I could tell you, like, if I would have been doing this shit on my year 5 of me being a developer, I would have had already 10 years trading. And the more years you have, the more knowledge you have, the more money you make. But this is not like a job. When you're trading, when you're investing, and just have knowledge and finances and how the world works, we're not talking about little money. Because you go in, you could work at a job for 10, 15 years, and your increase could be, yeah, I started at 65, now I'm making 170 a year. That's cute. But when you actually know how to move here, we're talking about that in that same time frame that it took you to make an extra $80,000 on your job. If you know how to invest properly, you exponentially grow. And the cool thing about this is, like, if you're broke, you're gonna be broke. You can't. People get this shit wrong. Be like, well, I'm broke. I don't have no money. I'm not gonna get nowhere. The truth is, like, you're gonna have to invest. You're gonna have to invest into education, invest into taking risk, right? But that's where you're gonna go in and you're gonna make the most. For me, like I focus so much in code because I love to code, guys. Like people be like, does this guy even really Nah, bro, I fucking code, bro. Like I went hard, bro. You know, I need to get glasses because I code so much, bro. Like this is what I do. But over time I realized I'm like, holy shit, I need to understand like how is it that someone like my boy Will, what's the difference between him and me? Like it's not that much difference. Like what is it that he's doing? And what he did over time is like when you see these guys, they'll be like, well, my dream is to work at Google. This it's like the guys that's making bread, they're not thinking about going to Google, bro. They're not working for Google. They're in other fucking companies. Either they built their own companies or they've been doing investments. Like shout out to what's this guy's name? John Summers, right? John Summers in 2020, 2021 got canceled because he told some girl to shut up, right? And it was like the era of people getting canceled, right? And till this day, you don't know what John Summers is doing, but John Summers is living good. You don't have to, you know, he lost all his book deals, he lost all his courses, all the platforms that used to sponsor him, everything. He lost everything. But why John Summers still living good and balling? Very simple. That dude, when he came in the early 2000s, he wasn't just coding 24/7. He was also investing. That dude got bread. Okay? And that's the thing that I'm trying to save you guys. A lot of you guys that's jumping into this game, it's like, you gotta learn how to code to get a better job. Once you get a better job and you got a higher income, that higher income, you cannot spend it and waste it on property of like, I'm living in a cool condo, I'm buying a Mercedes Benz, I'm buying a Lambo. You don't want to do that. You could always get that Mercedes Benz, you could always get that Lambo in a few years. If you go in and take that extra bread that now you're getting in and you invest it, bro, you're gonna be making a fucking killing. And especially how the world is moving right now. The world is about to be the have and have-nots, right? There's people that if they don't have no investments, no properties, like you're not worth shit in this world. I'm telling you right now. You know, it's like everybody getting rich off just properties and you know, the stock market. If you're not in that space, you're basically playing the wrong game. You're like showing up to a basketball game with a tennis racket. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, don't look. The stuff about the AI, somebody said, Andrew, be careful with the market right now. They say, bro, take that shit out of your head. You have to understand, there's long-term investments, there's short-term investments, there's swing trades, and there's day trading. Day trading, you're not holding anything. Now, there's some things that you might say, well, I believe in Apple, I believe in Microsoft. That's going to be here for the next 10, 20 years. You could buy Apple right now, and Apple will drop to zero in 2 years. And Apple is such a company that is so big that it will still rise up 5 years from now. So your money's still safe in there, right? But that's a long-term investment. I'm not doing no long-term investment right now. I'm doing a couple of little ones, but what I'm doing is day trading. What I'm talking about is day trading. Day trading is you're buying and selling, buying low, selling high. And you're getting your 1%, 2%, sometimes you get 10%, 50%, and that's it. But I could tell you right now, if you put that in your head, like, man, be careful with the market right now. They say there's an AI bubble, bro. That's what I used to have in my head back in the days, bro. I used to have 14 Bitcoins, bro. 14, right? 2017. Go watch my old videos. I talked about it back then. And you know what I did when Bitcoin went up to 20,000? I sold it. Did I need to sell it? Hell no, right? And I sold it because people were saying, man, this shit is a bubble. It's going to drop. That shit wasn't going to drop. I should have bought more when it dropped to 6,000 after that. But because I started listening to people that are like, man, this shit is going to drop. This is a bubble. This is where now I'm regretting all that shit. I could have had like $10 million in Bitcoin right now. I could tell you right now, you gotta invest. There's gonna be things that you're gonna win, there's things that you're gonna lose, but if you're not part of the market, if you're not part of building assets, you're done. This game is now built for us to just work every day. The game is built for us to work and then put that money that we get to work for us. Again, that's just what I would say. Not financial advice. You can do whatever you want to do. I just know what I'm doing. Let me see. Shout out to everybody that's in here, guys. I think it's gonna rain. I'm over here in the park with my kids, so I think we hanged out for what, 50 minutes. Hopefully, some of you guys like this live stream, hanged out with me, got some gems, understand where we're going with this, with CodingPhase. Remember, this is the plan. The plan is to help you come in, get a better job. After you get a better job, right? First, learn a new skill that's in demand. After learning that, getting into a job position, then once you get into that job position, how to go in and make side income. And as new income is coming in, what do you do with that income as far as investment? Just invest it into the market, just to help you out. Now, of course, anybody that don't want to do that, you don't have to take that side of CodingPhase. You don't have to go and take the full circle of CodingPhase. You just go in, and once you get your job, you keep it moving. You find your own route. I just could tell you right now that people that follow what I'm telling them and listen to what I'm saying, we're going to go back in 5 years from now, and we're going to say, yo, how many people have over $200,000, $300,000 saved up in just in investments? And there's going to be a lot of people, because I know a lot of you guys, once I teach you guys just how to use the tools, I'm not telling you that you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire, because it's cap. Somebody tells you that, it's bullshit. What you want to do is just learn how the market works and how these tools work. Okay? If you put in your head, I'm going to get rich, you're going to lose money. If you put in your head, how can I go in and make maybe the same salary that I'm making at my job, that's 100% doable. But anyways, guys, listen, I'm about to stay out of here, man. Let me see. I stayed away from day trading because it's a lot of work. Keep track of tax transaction. Bro, you don't have to keep track of anything. You go in, you pay your a CPA. What do you have an accounting for? Always remember this, guys. You only pay taxes on what you actually have made money. If you haven't made any money, you don't pay taxes. That's another thing too. That's another stuff that people say, well, if you do day trading, you got to do taxes, this and that. Bro, if you do not make money, you don't pay taxes. You only pay taxes if you actually made money. If you're at a negative, you don't pay shit. You actually get a deduction on your taxes. All right? Like, for example, like in 2023, I lost like $70,000, $80,000. Guess what happened? That $70,000, every single year, I get a discount of $3,000 on my taxes because of 2023. So for as long as I was unprofitable in 2023 and 2024, I will have a minus on my taxes. All of that, your CPA is supposed to go and do that. Then after that, all that shit is being accounted for. The moment now you become profitable, like this year I'm profitable, all that money that I had lost from 2023 and 2024, right? All of that now is basically, how you call this, is, how can I say, it's minused my profits. So I wouldn't have to pay taxes on that because I had a bad 2023. You know what I'm saying? Also too is, that's what you're paying accounting for, bro. Don't limit yourself, right? Because you think it's gonna be difficult. Again, this is stuff that we're gonna cover in the trading course. Also too, you could do on a retirement account, Roth IRA, where you're not paying shit. Any money that you make in there, that's for your retirement. Anyways, guys, listen, it's about to start raining here. I'm about to get out of here. What time is it? Yeah, it was super sunny, but now, as you can see, the clouds came in. It's already drizzling. So let me go in and get my kids, get my wife, and then I'll see you guys probably later on tonight. I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna share, stocks that I'm paying attention to on the weekend. I told you guys in my last video, this is something that I'm bringing into the channel. I was gonna do it in CodingPhase, but I said, you know what? Nah, I want you guys that's in here to just see what's happening, see what's going on. And I'm probably gonna be doing, I don't know, maybe 2-3 videos a day, dropping one video of content, one live stream, and then at the end of the day, a recap of what happened in the market. Again, because this is something that I have to put you guys on. Like, this is more important than if you learn anything from me, this is the number one thing that I want you guys to leave out of here. How to do this shit properly and how to do it safely, so you don't come into the game like I did in 2023 and I lost money. I don't want you guys to do that. I want you guys to do it the most safest way, know how to do, use a simulator, what's the best platforms to use, like the shit that I wish somebody would have taught me. You know what I'm saying? I want you guys to learn. Look at this shit. Everybody out here, everybody got the Ferraris out here. This shit's kind of crazy. Look at this shit. Lambo, 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 Lambo. This is type. This is what I always tell you guys. Right? Remember, I used to tell this in New York. You want to be surrounded by money. Do not. If you go to a neighborhood and you start seeing just Hondas, you know you're not moving to the right spot, bro. If you start seeing fucking Subarus and Suzukis and shit like that, was it Suzuki, Izuku, whatever, fucking old ass Japanese cars, you start seeing too much Ford, yeah, bro, you gotta start going in and be like, I gotta start moving better out here. Facts, big facts. All right, guys. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna see you guys later. It's your boy Joe back at it again. CodingPhase.com. Your boy's back, and I done did it again.